This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
It is a Monday on the After Party Live. Thank you for joining me here. Thank you for being here. Please click the subscribe button if you haven't already, and please click the like button as well. Just get it out of the way. Free things to do. Easy. Click subscribe, click like, and off we go. This is a show that is not about politics. This is a show that'll cool us down a little bit from all of the ugliness and just the stress. But I do want to say that part of the reason I'm a little late getting over here is because we had a post-show meeting about this election show. This will happen at 8:30 p.m. tomorrow night. So we'll have our normal show in the morning, and then from 8:30 to 9:30, a Mark Thompson Show election special. And this is because we were asked for this, so we're putting this together. And the number of people stopping by this show, amazing. I just heard today, just a little while ago, that remember Bob Christian? He's the man running for a congressional seat in Georgia. He'll be stopping by. He may be in the middle of a celebration after winning the election, or not. We'll see how it goes. But just it's going to be a really good show, and a place where we can gather together and either celebrate, commiserate, whatever it may be. But this show, we're going to leave it all in the past. We're going to take a deep breath. We're going to calm. At this point, there's really not much we can do about it anyway, unless you're out there knocking on doors, canvassing, doing everything. Most of us, we've, written all the postcards we're going to write to swing states. We've voted. We've sent in our ballots. We're going to vote tomorrow, whatever it is. So I don't know really what more we can do except just kind of try to calm. I wish I had some better news for you today, but I have an update on the story of Peanut. Do you remember Peanut? We talked about it on Friday, interestingly. And huge thank you to Elise in Zario, who's throwing down a $25 super sticker. She says, "Justice for Peanut." We'll talk about that. Thank you, Elise. Peanut is definitely on my mind today. Cynthia Jeffrey with $10 as well. You guys, thank you so much. And always Wes contributing $5 via PayPal. Thank you so much. By the way, the PayPal information is in the show description and in the About tab here on YouTube. But let's move back to Justice for Peanut. Elise talking about that. This is a hard one because we had the story of Peanut on Friday. Peanut is this creature that was rescued by this man. His name is Mark. So Mark rescues Peanut, tries to nurse him back to health. He sets him free and says Peanut returns to his porch and won't leave. Peanut probably isn't going to be doing well in the wild because now he's, they say if your animals get too used to, I don't know, able to be around humans without that fear reflex, that it's not going to be good for them. So now Peanut joins Mark in his home along with a raccoon. And he says he has created an animal sanctuary. The problem that he has run into is that he hasn't filed the proper paperwork to have such a sanctuary, nor has he filed the paperwork to have a squirrel or a raccoon, basically wildlife, in his home. In the state of New York, where they live, you have to have permission, which means you have to have a signed document that says it's okay for you to have these wildlife creatures, that you are indeed running a sanctuary. Then he has this issue, because if you weren't going to sign the papers, right, at least keep it to yourself. But he doesn't do that because Peanut is so cute and the raccoon is so cute, he has them all over YouTube. So I don't know if they're 500,000 subscribers to his YouTube channel. That's quite a few. So we had to know at some point, because people can be mean, right, that he's going to get an official complaint. And he knows he doesn't have the right paperwork. So the social media famous squirrel, Peanut, was taken. Someone made a complaint. The state of New York wildlife officials came out, found out that the paperwork hadn't been filed, and so They confiscated Peanut and the raccoon, and in doing so, at some point in the process, one of these animals bit one of the folks involved in confiscating the creatures. All right. Now you got a problem because you don't have vaccination records for a raccoon or a squirrel. So, according to the state of New York, they had to euthanize both animals to do autopsies to check for rabies. It's a horrible end. It's a horribly sad end to this situation. Now, the owner, caretaker, mm, human involved in this, Mark, he says he goes on the internet, he and his girlfriend, and they're sobbing and they're crying about why the state of New York had to do this. And I feel for them, I really do. But I think that as much as the state of New York is responsible for euthanizing these animals, he is responsible for not doing it right, not having the paperwork, and not, if he was taking care of the animals properly, he would have had all of his ducks in a row, especially if he's going to make a social media account and show them all over the place. You have to realize that this might be a possibility. So the DEC, the Department of whatever that New York calls it, the animal folks, they said on October 30th, the DEC seized a raccoon and a squirrel sharing a residence with humans, creating the potential for human exposure to rabies. In addition, a person involved with the investigation was bitten by the squirrel. To test for rabies, both animals were euthanized. That's what they say. He says, Mark Longo, the DEC came to my house and raided my house without a search warrant to find a squirrel. He said I was treated as a drug dealer and as if they were going for drugs and guns. And again, he raised the squirrel for 8 months before trying to release it into the wild. But this squirrel did not want to leave once he had the good life at home and was being fed and everything else, right? So Mark says, you took one of the most amazing animals away from me because of your selfishness. To the group of people who called DEC, there's a special place in hell for you. Now, again, it is against New York state law to own a wild animal like a squirrel without a license. This man, Mark Longo, said he was aware of this and that he was filing paperwork to certify Peanut was an educational animal before the raid happened. He said, if we're not following the rules, guide us in the right direction to follow the rules. I blame him. I mean, him, the person who called it in, and the state of New York. I don't know who do you blame the most? Because even if the person had called it in, even if there had been someone who was, you know, truly concerned or just a mean person, if the state had gone and he had presented the paperwork, Peanut and the raccoon would still be there. Maybe again, if he wasn't going to file the right paperwork, he maybe shouldn't publish all of these videos. I hate to take the state of New York off the hook for this, but there's so many things that went wrong here that I think it's hard to just put the blame on one person. Mama says, I bet the person who reported him was an animal rights activist. So sad. I mean, who knows? A mean person? He should have been discreet, says Mindy. Right. I would think. I would think this too. Walnut Creek Adult Softball says in this day and age, you'd think there would be a way to detect rabies without euthanasia. A blood test, something, you would think. But how sad. At the end of all this creature who's super cute, they have pictures of him, videos of him wearing a cowboy hat. I mean, it's an adorable little squirrel. And at the end of all of this, he's done wrong. He's done wrong by his caretaker here. He's done wrong by the people of YouTube. He's done wrong by the state of New York. This little squirrel didn't stand a chance. Rhonda says, I saw the end of this story this morning. Turns out it was political. A woman in Texas was mad. The owner was a Trumper. Oh my gosh. I didn't know it was political in nature. I mean, that's just it's frustrating that anyone would do it for that malicious of a reason. Horrible. And these people came on YouTube sobbing, sobbing, asking for people to donate to their legal fund as they now sue the state of New York. Wild. Wild. Dave says they doxed the lady that reported Peanut. She's from Texas. Peanut was in New York. She basically ruined her life. Yeah, as Rhonda says, very, very sad. People suck, says Heather. It hurts. Yeah. It's just a bummer all the way around. So that's the sad update to the story of Peanut. I do have a sad story in the Bay Area as well. Well, I guess it kind of ended on a happy note, this one. This happened on Highway 85 in the Silicon Valley, heart of the South Bay. This plane had to make an emergency landing right during the morning of commute, right on Highway 85. Happened this morning. The pilot landed the plane right after 7 a.m., didn't hit any vehicles, no reports of any injuries. It was a single engine Cub Crafters CC 11, according to a spokesperson for the FAA. Here's a close up of that plane. That's kind of a cool looking plane. I mean, until it breaks down and you got to land it on the freeway, I guess. They say they're trying to get the plane moved. They had to close down the freeway for a while. They're not sure why the pilot made an emergency landing. There were reports on KCBS radio that the pilot ran out of fuel and the plane was set down on Highway 85 right near Stevens Creek Boulevard, captured on the live Caltrans cameras. So quite an event. The pilot came down on the roadway, shut down the two right lanes. Traffic was still getting by on part of the freeway. And there you go. Not every day you see a plane land on the freeway. It's happened before, maybe not on Highway 85, but I'm sure, imagine being the car right behind that. Like, is that what I think is happening? Oh my gosh. Here's a story a little racy for you. This ought to take your mind off the election. There you go. We had a story on Halloween about a bike ride in the shape of a skeleton. Well, this one, good morning. Is that a male member or are you happy to see me? This is supposed to be the world's largest GPS penis, traced across part of this area in Wales in the Welsh mountains. And the whole point is charity. It's a 75-mile GPS image of a penis. It's in South Wales. They're trying to raise money for charity. This penis route was completed in less than 24 hours by a man who's 38 years old, and his name is Terry Rossman. He's a marketing director from South Wales, and his whole point was to raise money and awareness about men's mental health issues for Movember. Get yourself moving in Movember, right? And so there he is after his run, and he said he chose to run this shape to help gain the attention of his target demographic. He said most men find the shape hilarious. So he starts his journey Friday at 5 p.m. and he finished at 4:30 p.m. Saturday in the same spot. He said it was really tough, the hardest thing he's ever done in his life. It was just a hard slog, he said, for 24 hours. He didn't sleep. He ran through the night in the pitch black, couldn't see anything. He said they got lost loads of times. The route involved climbing more than 2,800 meters in total. The elevation, he said, was a killer. He said, I'm just glad that this is done. So the Movember awareness charity campaign started more than 20 years ago as an annual sponsored mustache growing event to raise awareness of men's mental health and testicular cancer as well. He raised more than 4,000 pounds. He's hoping he hits his target of 5,000 pounds for this. He said the hardest part was the 12 hours of darkness he ran in with little to no visibility and heavy mist. So this was, you could say it's a labor of love in more ways than one. And he said his daughters and wife came up and gave him a big hug when he was done. He is very thankful, he says, for all the support that he's received from people, everyone who came to run with him, donated, and shared. And he hopes that this endeavor will inspire other men to take on their own challenges. He said, ultimately, all of this is about having aims and goals, grand aims and grand goals that are bigger than yourself, that are more important than going to the pub, that'll give you that sort of purpose. All of that by running a phallus. What are you going to do? Here's an interesting story about the human condition. Do you feel bad for that robot getting kicked by a human being? It is, after all, an inanimate object, right? Not technically being hurt or injured or feeling pain. Researchers tortured robots in order to test the limits of human empathy. They've been doing this for a while, trying to test the kindness of strangers. They used this machine, and this study was done in 2015, called Hitchbot. It spent months hitchhiking across the continental United States, only made it about 300 miles. 2 weeks into the road trip, Hitchbot was found abandoned in the streets of Philadelphia, its head severed, its arms ripped from its body. They said it was quite a setback and they didn't expect it. But it's not a unique case. It turns out that human beings have taken the opportunities to kick, punch, trip, run over, and crush anything remotely resembling a robot for years. And the concern is that as more humanoid robots are built to work alongside people in manufacturing facilities, more of this kind of robot violence, I guess you could call it, robot abuse, I don't know what to call it, could be on the uptick, right? There's a growing body of research suggesting that we may be more likely to feel bad for robots and mechanical assistants, even take it easy on them if they express sounds of human like pain. So, this Hitchbot might have fared better if it had been programmed to beg for mercy or to make moaning sounds or, say ouch or whatever it might have been. So, there's a new study now done by a researcher at Radboud University, Nimgen. The whole point of it shows that humans feel guilty when robots cry. That in a series of experiments done on violence against these inanimate objects, they looked at how people reacted when they asked to violently shake a test robot. In some cases, the people would shake the robot and nothing would happen. Other times, the robot would emit a pitiful crying sound from a pair of small speakers, or its eyes would become enlarged, making it look sad. And the researchers said they were more likely to feel guilty when the robot gave the emotion like responses. In another experiment, participants were given the option of either performing a boring task or giving the robot a solid shake. And participants were more than willing to shake the robot when it was unresponsive. When it cried out, they opted to go ahead and do the task instead. That most people had no problem shaking that robot up, but as soon as it started to cry or whimper, they chose to do the boring task instead. The findings build off other research showing that we may treat robots in a more kind fashion when they appear to exhibit a range of human-like tendencies. So, can you believe they do studies like this? In one study, we were humans less inclined to strike a robot with a hammer if the robot actually had a backstory describing its supposed personality and experiences. In another case, the test subjects were friendlier to humanoid shaped robots after they used a VR headset to see through the machine's perspective. Other research suggests humans may be more willing to empathize with or trust robots that appear to be able to recognize their own emotional state. And so the researcher says if a robot can pretend to experience emotional distress, people feel guiltier when they mistreat the robot. Wow. It's a series of videos that are kind of disturbing. They have a study out of San Francisco too, where residents in San Francisco reportedly knocked over this egg shaped canine patrol robot and smeared it with feces after it was deployed by a local animal shelter to monitor unhoused people. The folks that owned this egg shaped robot said an intruder fleeing a healthcare center intentionally ran over one of its robots with his vehicle. That food delivery robots currently operating in several cities have been kicked over and have been vandalized. There was an AI powered sex robot that was shown off at this fair in Australia. It had to be, or she had to be sent off for repairs after she was left heavily soiled. Gross. In uh at the Boston Dynamics company, now owned by Hyundai, they created what may be considered some of the most advanced quadruped and bipedal robots in the world. And they did so by subjecting them to hours of attack. The engineers would kick the spot robot, harass the humanoid robot with weighted machine balls and a hockey stick, trying to understand why people enjoy abusing robots is this area of study now. Why do you think we do it? Why do you think we enjoy as a species hurting robots? Are we scared of them? Do they just not matter? Why would we do that? I don't know. As Ricky says, people suck, right? And it's weird. It just seems like we have way better use for our time. Nullifidian says a video shows a humanoid robot getting beaten and brutalized, but it grabbed a Spot Mini and ran away with it. I don't know what Spot Mini is. Interesting. Phineas says a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second laws. You're getting all sci fi on me now. Mama says programming robots to cry is really weird. Or is it weird that we abuse them? I mean, I don't know. Ricky says, I was the facilities manager at a data center and I tortured machines all the time, but a robot? Weird. Of course it was brutalized. Yeah. Unprovoked displays of violence always upset me. Even if it's a robot, just looking at that picture. I'm like, why would you do that? So weird. Anyway, I can't believe it's even an area of study. Heather says people are mean. They figure there are fewer consequences if the victim isn't sentient. It's just so bizarre. Are we really that violent of a species? I guess. Purging those violent tendencies. These people have anger issues, says Mindy. Murphy says, I'm willing to bet the people messing with the robots were male. Blue Spark, my mom gets mad when I'm not polite to the Alexa. That's so funny. It's true. Well, the thing is, if you get in the habit of not being polite, then when you're talking to a human being, you tend to repeat the same thing. So why wouldn't you say, please Alexa or whatever? I get it. I don't know. Mom wants to know who's funding this research. All kinds of universities and people doing dissertations on this type of thing. Apparently, it's an area of research. Teacher Lori with the human condition says people will take out their anger on weaker things. As robots take over human jobs, more frustration with them will occur and more abuse will take place. Isn't that the truth? Come on. Eileen, I guess as well as being idiots, 35 to 40% of people are sadists. It's true. And this is what I wonder, Mindy. When will people learn to be more compassionate? Is that something we learn in the home? Is that is that does it come in the home, compassion and empathy? Because it always seemed to me like we just were naturally born with that. That people are, it's a natural thing. You just are born with I don't know, with the knowledge that it's bad to hurt other people. Perhaps, though, I'm just Pollyanna. I don't know. Let's talk about this cancer smoking link. There is a story that says that if you quit smoking after you get a cancer diagnosis, it could boost your survival up to 26%. That smokers diagnosed with cancer often keep on lighting up. They're like, well, it's too late for me now, right? I already got cancer. Might as well just keep on a smoking. They figure a few more cigarettes aren't going to make the difference at this point. But a new study shows, aha, you're wrong. Smokers are 22 to 26% less likely to die if they quit smoking following a cancer diagnosis. And the best outcomes occurred in patients who quit within 6 months of their cancer diagnosis and remained cigarette free for at least 3 months. Likely, let's hope you remain, cigarette free for longer. The researchers published this in the Journal of JAMA Oncology last Thursday. They say while smoking cessation is widely promoted across cancer centers for cancer prevention, it remains underaddressed by many oncologists in their routine care. This comes out of the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center. Their research underscores the critical role of early smoking cessation as a key clinical intervention for patients currently undergoing cancer treatment. And for this study, it's a pretty big one. They looked at more than 4,500 smokers who'd been diagnosed with cancer and were in a quit smoking program at MD Anderson. Nearly all of the quit support was provided via telemedicine. And they say cancer patients who successfully abstained from smoking had an average survival of 4 years compared with 2 years for those who couldn't quit. They call it a call to action for experts, regulatory bodies, and institutions to prioritize quitting smoking as an integral part of first line cancer care. Makes sense to me. Also made for a better quality of life for those involved. A story for you. They had a heist gone wrong, a bungled heist. The thieves were trying to steal this Andy Warhol print of Queen Elizabeth II in the Netherlands. Didn't quite work out as they had hoped. They're being called amateurish thieves. They may have made off with a screen print of Queen Elizabeth II. The thieves blew open the gallery doors. They stole two works from the iconic American pop artist. Another two prints were left badly damaged, sadly, in the street after the thieves discovered they wouldn't fit in the getaway car. This is why we call it a bungled heist. It was all captured on security cameras. The whole thing was being called amateurish. The bomb attack so violent that the building was partially destroyed. Nearby stores were damaged as well. So they did that part of it too well, according to the gallery owner. Then they ran to the car with the prints, and as it turns out, the prints wouldn't fit in the vehicle. At that moment, the works were ripped out of the frames, and so they're damaged beyond repair because it's impossible to get them out undamaged. The thieves struck the gallery in the Dutch town of Oosterwijk early Friday. They were attempting to steal four works from a 1985 Warhol series called Reigning Queens. It featured portraits of then queens of the UK, the Netherlands, Denmark, and Swaziland, which, by the way, is now called Eswatini. Did you know that? I didn't either. The thieves got away with the portraits of Queen Elizabeth II and Margaret II of Denmark. But the prints of Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands and Ntombi Twafwala, who is now the Queen Mother of Eswatini, were abandoned in the street. So there you go. We don't know the value of these signed and numbered works. They were due to go on sale as part of an art fair later this month. But they're looking for witnesses, trying to figure out what happened and where these pieces are. You would think that you would have a bigger truck or something. That if you're going to go to all the trouble to blow the place wide open, that you would have had a, I don't know, little better plan. One would hope. Yeah. All right, you guys ready for the lotto of the day? I have two lotto stories of the day for you today. Here is one from Missouri. This guy forgets his lunch. He is a man from Missouri. His name isn't given. He's just called Player. So Player forgets his lunch. He said his wife called him to tell him that he forgot his lunch at home. So he stopped at Schnuck's grocery store in Arnold, Missouri to find something to eat. He said while he was looking for lunch, he played a $30 Millionaire Bucks scratch off ticket. Would you spend $30 on a scratch off ticket? I guess if you don't, you know, if you don't play, you're not going to win like this guy. He said, I don't normally play the $30 tickets, but since I had $60 I'd won earlier on some other scratcher ticket, I thought, why not? So he scans his ticket and he discovers it's a $3 million top prize winner. He said, I was completely surprised. I didn't think I'd won. And then I saw all the zeros. The first thing he did, call his wife back. I like to play jokes, he said, and it took a little convincing for her to believe me. The next one is about a man who got this lottery ticket for free. Here he is. This guy's from Michigan. And I think he's from Michigan, right? He Massachusetts, my apologies, some other M state. This Massachusetts man got a lottery ticket for free as part of a promotion. It was a mass cash ticket, Massachusetts cash ticket. As part of the lottery's Rake in the Winnings promotion, he gets this ticket for free from the corner store in Everett, Massachusetts. The promotion, which ran the month of October, gave players a chance to win a free mass cash ticket if they spend $5 or more on a single ticket for a drawing or monitor game. His free ticket ends up winning him $100,000. He matches all 5 winning numbers, and there you go. Free ticket, $100,000. Why not? And that is the lottery of the day. Some people have all the luck, I'll tell you. I do have a hide in your cave Monday story. And this is a day when I think a lot of us want to hide in our cave. If we hide now, we can avoid all the stuff that might go down tomorrow, right? No, we'll take it. Hide in your cave Monday. I found this interesting story in SF Gate about the largest limestone cave in Hawaii, and it's closing down to tourists. They just don't have enough money to properly operate it anymore, sadly. And it is privately owned as well. So let's take a look at this massive limestone cave. It's a cave that you have to crawl through this triangular opening to get to. And once you get inside, you can see the roof has caved in and it opens up to what's called a spectacular looking amphitheater. The control of this cave is reverting back to a co-founder of AOL, of course. It's called the Makawahi Cave Reserve. It is located on Kauai's south shore. This is the largest limestone cave in Hawaii. The ceiling of this cave caved in about 7,000 years ago. And that is what created this large natural amphitheater-shaped opening to the sky. But according to SF Gate, it holds more than 10,000 years of layered sedimentary history. It also attracted more than 80,000 people a year coming by to visit. With a very unique entrance, you have to crawl on your hands and knees into a dark triangular opening, leading you through a tunnel and into the middle of this massive sinkhole. There are 40-foot tall laulu palm trees backed by high cliffs, making it feel like you're going into this place that is a window to prehistoric time. So in the 1990s, there were a couple of paleoecologists, David Burney and his wife, Lida Burney. They started studying this cave. They founded a nonprofit nature park in 2004. They said they transformed this from a graffitied, neglected space into an oasis. They planted more than 10,000 native and Polynesian plants around the cave. They gave tours for visitors and school groups, protected native Hawaiian burials here, and maintained the surrounding trails as well. But last month, they said they had no choice to close this reserve down after Grove Farm, the landowner, blocked a $2.3 million grant. Stephen Case, a co founder and former CEO of AOL, owns the land management and development company, which will now be responsible for the cave and the surrounding area. Case, again, the AOL guy, bought Grove Farm and its land holdings of 38,000 acres 24 years ago. They say, Mr. Burney and his wife, the closing down is a financial decision. We can't run the place without being able to obtain grants. And the landowner is turning down grants. So it looks like they don't want these folks to be in charge anymore, which is sad given how many people came to experience this amazing piece of natural history on the island of Kauai. Here's what it looks like if you're looking through the initial opening that you have to crawl through, and it really does look like you're looking into a whole nother world. But this is it. We won't be able to see it anymore. At least it looks like that. The Makawahi Cave Reserve's lease went to month more than a year ago, which should have signaled that maybe there was going to be a problem, right? And the Bernies say that the future being uncertain on this land made it impossible to get the grants necessary to operate their 130-acre cave reserve. They had an interpretive trail, a tortoise sanctuary, a large plant nursery, all there. It cost them about $500,000 to operate this reserve. They've been using their own money. They had a skeletal staff to keep it going the last 6 months. And they say they can't really go out into the community and ask for more money when everything is so uncertain. As for what will happen to this area, Grove Farm is not telling them what the future plans will be. We just don't know. They have now started rehoming the 100-pound tortoises that live here. They're starting to give away the potted native plants, including the rare and endangered plants from the nursery. The Grove Farm spokespeople say they appreciate the scholarly work and legacy of the Bernies and the volunteers. They say they intend to preserve this important resource, that they have formed their own nonprofit to oversee the cave to keep providing access for educational and school groups. So we'll see how it goes. There are worries that native burial grounds here won't be protected like they were before. But it's sad that it had to end this way. It's a sad farewell to this beautiful Makawahi Cave Reserve. Again, the largest limestone cave in Hawaii. So you crawl through there and look what you see. Beautiful. And that is Hide in Your Cave Monday. And there you go. Well, we've come to the end of another After Party Live. Huge thank you to Elise Inzario coming in with the $25 super sticker and justice for Peanut. Yeah, sadly, I don't think Peanut's going to get that justice. Cynthia Jeffrey, $10 super sticker. Thank you for that. You guys, when you contribute to the show, you really keep it going. So huge thank you. Really appreciate it. Some chats here. The AOL guy might need a place to put CDs and envelopes. Heather says, I've never gotten addicted to anything, but my sister is the exact opposite. Wave something in her general direction and she's hooked. Some people, right? Is it a personality thing? Is it a genetics thing? I don't know. Yeah. That's what it reminded me of. Thank you, Tammy. Land of the Lost. Totally reminded me of Land of the Lost. Yeah. I agree. Nullifidian says, I'm going to need a cave to hide in if things go badly tomorrow. Apparently, this isn't the cave to hide in, I guess, anymore, right? Yeah. Oh, talking about smoking, Stanley says, I'm living in San Jose, but everybody smokes. A person complained people were giving it up. Turns out it was a ruse to bum a cigarette. I don't know. It seems like smoking rates have gone down. I hope so. Nullifidian says nicotine is the most addictive substance known to man. Come on. Gotta be hard. Mama says, my dad quit smoking cold turkey the day I was born. He loves to tell this story. Coincidentally, I can't stand smoking. I think it's the worst vice anyone could have. I remember my dad used to smoke a pipe when I was a little girl. And then he had cigarettes, and I would break them apart and I'd leave little notes on his cigarettes that said death sticks. He quit smoking pretty quickly after that. And it's been years and years since I've seen him with a cigarette. Yeah. Well, okay, everybody. Tomorrow, David K. Johnston will be on the Mark Thompson Show at 11 a.m. I think we'll have Jefferson Graham as well. There might be some other surprises. That is tomorrow here on YouTube at 11 a.m. And then on your calendars, if you are looking for a place to kind of let it all out in between your election watching, please come to YouTube to check out the Mark Thompson Show election special. That is 8:30 Pacific and 11:30 Eastern here on YouTube. It'll just be for an hour, but we'll have a lot of experts stop by and give their thoughts as we get the results come in. By the way, if you have a race in your area that you would like me to follow, that you would like to see the results of, then please email me. Let me know in your state, in your county, what the biggest race is, what's most pertinent to you, and I'll make sure to get that up on the screen. You can email me at kim@theafterparty.live. Also, kimmcallister.com will work, but kim@theafterparty.live as well, and I'll put your issue on my list of races to follow. And I'll either have it on the bottom of the screen or I'll pop in and give the results tomorrow night. All right. Have a great rest of your Hide in Your Cave Monday. Make it a really good one. And I'll see you back here on YouTube on Election Day. Bye, everybody.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Yes, indeed.